I came across this brass tool on the west coast of Washington. It looks like some kind of hand-cranked cutter, but I'm not sure. Could it have been used in farming, fishing, or maybe in a cannery? What you found is a blade sharpening machine, patented in 1902 by Ferdinand Reichert and Henry Wilcox. This type of device was designed to hold a blade in place while two rotating arms brought abrasive and polishing surfaces into contact with both sides of the edge. The design featured interchangeable sharpening blocks, one side for honing, the other for finishing. Its angled configuration ensured that both sides of the blade were sharpened evenly as the crank turned. These machines were commonly used in workshops, factories, and possibly in canneries, or on farms where maintaining sharp tools was essential. Your example appears to be in excellent condition and still retains its original brass construction and mechanical functionality. I have this wooden box that used to belong to my grandfather. It has a hinged lid, a drawer, and some decorative carvings. Inside, there's what looks like a built-in compartment. It's about 36 by 12 by 18 inches. Does anyone know what it might have been used for? What you found is the case for a late 19th or early 20th century interchangeable cylinder music box. These large mechanical music boxes used rotating cylinders studded with pins to pluck tuned teeth on a metal comb, producing melodies. The drawer with separated slots was designed to hold extra cylinders, allowing the user to switch out tunes. The box itself was often made of finely finished wood with carved details in brass or bronze hardware. While the internal mechanism is missing, the case alone is a fine example of early mechanical music craftsmanship and may still hold collectible or decorative value. I found this and I have no idea what it is. It looks like a two-sided dial with a small wheel. Any ideas what this is and what it can be used for? What you found is an oppisometer, also known as a map measurer, curvimeter, or chartometer. This handheld tool was used to measure the distance along curved lines on maps, such as roads or rivers. The small wheel at the tip would be rolled along a route on a paper map, and the dial would display the distance based on the scale of the map. More advanced versions like yours feature rotating dials calibrated for different units, typically kilometers and miles. Before GPS and mapping software, this was an essential tool for travelers, surveyors, and cartographers. Your example is likely from the mid-20th century and was probably made in Europe. These instruments are now considered collectible, especially when they retain clear markings and multiple scales. Dear viewers, if you enjoy our videos, please subscribe to the channel and give this one a thumbs up. It influences the YouTube algorithm and the video gets promoted more effectively. Thank you. I found this in a house I recently moved into. It's a clamshell style case with a red lining, and inside there's a block made of some kind of metal. I'm not sure what it's for. What you found is a vintage charcoal hand warmer. These were popular before chemical or rechargeable hand warmers became widely available. The device consists of a metal case typically lined with felt or fiberglass wool, designed to hold a stick of compressed charcoal. To use it, one end of the charcoal stick would be ignited and then placed inside the case. Once the case was closed, the charcoal would smolder slowly, producing heat for several hours. The felt lining helped insulate the heat and make it comfortable to hold in pockets or hands. Charcoal hand warmers were especially common among outdoorsmen, military personnel, and travelers in the early to mid-20th century. I found this in an old house I was helping to clear out. It's about 2 inches long, has a silver handle and a glass prism insert, and came in a small latched box. The manufacturer appears to be German. Any idea what it might have been used for? What you found is a right-angle surveying prism, likely made by Koeffel and Esser. These compact optical tools were used by surveyors and draftsmen to reflect sightlines precisely at 90 degrees. The glass prism inside creates a clean right-angle reflection, allowing the user to establish perpendicular lines or accurately transfer angles on site or in drafting work. These instruments were particularly useful before the age of digital equipment and were frequently stored in fitted cases to protect the optics. Although small, they were highly precise and essential in early engineering, architecture, and land surveying. I found this cylindrical metal object with a handle and two prongs on one end. Any idea what this is? What you found is an early electric curling iron heater, likely from the 1920s to 1940s. This device was used to heat detachable curling iron rods before built-in electric curling irons became common. The metal cylinder would be plugged in, and the curling iron itself would be inserted into the open end to absorb the heat. Once warmed, the rod was removed and used to curl hair. The prongs at the end connected the heater to a power source while the handles were designed to stay cool enough to hold. These were part of early electric grooming kits and represent one of the first household applications of electricity for personal care. I found this in a resale shop in the Midwest. It's a heavy, hollow metal object with no lid. I'm guessing it might be a tourist item, but I'm not sure. Does anyone know what it's supposed to represent? What you found is a modern decorative replica of a fangding, a type of ritual bronze vessel from ancient China, most commonly associated with the Shang dynasty, which ruled from around 1600 to 1046 BCE. Fangding were square or rectangular vessels that stood on four legs and were used to cook or present food during ceremonial rites, typically in honor of ancestors. The intricate designs you see, including stylized animal faces known as taotie, were typical of Shang dynasty bronze work. Original fangding were cast using piece mold techniques and frequently featured inscriptions commemorating noble families or important events. While your piece is a modern reproduction, most likely intended for decorative or souvenir purposes, its design reflects one of the oldest and most important traditions in Chinese ritual and metalwork. I found this while clearing the yard. It weighs about 6 pounds and the area has some World War II history. Could this be something dangerous? What you found appears to be an unexploded artillery shell, possibly a World War I era Mark I shrapnel round. These were developed by the French and widely used by Allied forces, though it could also date from World War II given the area's history. Even in poor condition, such shells can remain highly dangerous. Do not attempt to move it. Contact local police immediately so they can notify a bomb disposal unit. I came across this large, heavy wooden stamp. It looks like it's meant to create a repeating pattern, but I'm not sure what the metal loops and wires are for. Does anyone know what this might have been used for? What you found is a batik stamp, traditionally used in the process of creating patterned textiles with wax-resist dyeing. This method involves applying hot wax to certain areas of the fabric to prevent the dye from soaking in, allowing for intricate and colorful designs. The stamp is dipped in wax and pressed onto the material, blocking the dye in the shape of the pattern. The metal design elements, like the butterfly and floral motifs, are crafted to hold and transfer the wax evenly. The curved wires or loops at the top and bottom are structural supports that hold the thin metal pieces in place. While they do make contact with the fabric, they aren't intended to appear in the final design. In many cases, these supporting parts are carefully positioned to avoid interfering with the overall pattern. I was going through my great-grandfather's attic and came across this thing. No idea what it is, but it kind of looks like part of a weapon. Anyone know what this could be? What you found is the upper receiver and barrel shroud from a World War II German MG-42 machine gun. The MG-42 was one of the most feared weapons of the war, known for its extremely high rate of fire and innovative stamped steel construction. Even without its internal parts, this section is easily recognizable by the vented barrel jacket and distinctive top cover design. These weapons were produced in large numbers by manufacturers like Mauser and Gustloff Werke, and they are highly sought after by collectors today. Although this piece is incomplete, it may still hold significant historical and monetary value. If you're in the United States, it's best to consult a licensed firearms expert, as even non-functional machine gun parts can fall under strict federal regulation. I found this near the entrance to an airport. It's a heavy metal tube, roughly 3 feet long with handles and what looks like a kickstand. It almost resembles a small cannon. Does anyone know what it is or what it might be used for? What you found is a firearm clearing barrel, also known as a safe direction clearing station. These are used in secure facilities such as airports, military bases, and police stations to safely discharge or function check a firearm. The idea is to point the muzzle of the weapon into the barrel and cycle the action to confirm that it's unloaded. In case of a negligent discharge, the clearing barrel absorbs the round and prevents injury or damage. The structure is made of reinforced steel or similar material, and often lined with a ballistic absorbent like sand or rubber. The handles and angled design make it easier to use while standing. These devices are typically located in restricted areas near checkpoints or armories, but can occasionally be seen in transition zones like entrances used by security personnel. I found this outside an office building. 2 pointed wooden sticks connected by a clear wire. I have no idea what it is. What you found is a pair of circular knitting needles likely made from bamboo. These consist of 2 tapered, rigid tips connected by a flexible cord, in this case a clear nylon cable. They're used for knitting in the round or for working flat projects with many stitches, such as baby blankets or shawls. This particular set appears to be size 13 US and about 16 inches long overall. Circular needles were first patented in the United States in 1918 and have since become a staple in both hand knitting and advanced fiber arts due to their versatility and ergonomic design. I found this small, heavy object buried in the sand in Dakar, Senegal. It has the Shell logo on it, but I have no idea what it is. Does anyone recognize it? What you found is the main part of a vintage promotional keychain issued by Shell, likely in the mid-20th century. These heavy metal keychains were given to customers in France and various former French colonies in Africa, including Senegal, where Shell operated gas stations and other services. Your example is missing the key ring that would have attached at the top. Many of these promotional items were made from cast metal and finished with enamel or paint. Items like this were common giveaways in the 1950s to 1970s, designed to build customer loyalty while serving a practical purpose. There's a metal hoop mounted into a concrete slab at the house I just moved into. It's fixed in the ground and doesn't seem to move. Any idea what it might have been used for? What you found is a decorative outdoor cauldron hanger, made from a repurposed wagon wheel rim. These setups were commonly used as rustic garden ornaments and could serve multiple purposes, holding cast iron cauldrons, flower planters, or even small fire pits. The large metal hoop is likely the outer rim of a wooden wagon wheel, with the wooden spokes and hub long since removed or decayed. In the last video, I asked you to identify this ceramic item with dull teeth. This item is a paste maker, used for grinding small vegetables like garlic or ginger. You place it over what you want to turn into a paste and move it around with pressure. Thanks to everyone who shared their guesses. Now I want to invite you to identify another unusual object. This carved wooden item has several wooden rings around it. What do you think it was made for? Leave your guesses in the comments and I'll reveal the answer in the next video. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you found it interesting. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and consider subscribing. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm and lets more people discover the channel. Thanks again, and see you next time.